The NBA media is starting to change their tune about Jalen Brunson, and I'm here to break it all down. All that, much more on the Knicks Digest. What's up, guys? It's your boy Dariel from Knicks Digest. Earlier this week, Reddick himself on his podcast, The Old Man and the Three, had a small segment regarding the New York Knicks and Jalen Brunson, and this is what he had to say. Jalen Brunson has been a top 10 to 12 player in the NBA this season. Now, when he went on his little rant, he was talking about how Jalen Brunson more than likely is not going to get a first-team All-NBA selection, but it's more than likely he will get the second-team All-NBA selection. Second team, maybe third team, but I think it's safe to say that Jalen Brunson will be selected to the second team All-NBA team. And one of the stats that kind of really popped out to Reddick, and he spoke about it on his podcast, was he was looking at the top scorers of the league. And when you look at the top scorers of the league, Jalen Brunson actually comes in fourth. Now, when you talk about Jalen Brunson, you do know that he's the leader of the Knicks. You know that he's the primary offensive weapon. You know that most of the plays are going to be ran through him. But to look at that stat and seeing how Jalen Brunson is fourth on the scoring list for this season, it kind of really popped out to you. And if I take a look at the list here, look at the top four. Luka Doncic leads the list with 33.9, which is 34 points. Giannis is right behind him with 30.4. Then SGA at 30.4. And then you got Jalen Brunson at 28.4. And to round out the top five, you got Kevin Durant at 27.3, who low-key has not been talked about enough. Kevin Durant, I believe, is 36 years old. He's about like 3 years behind LeBron James. But LeBron James definitely should be getting all the praise that he's getting for playing the way he's playing for a 39-year-old. But KD, after two really bad injuries, an Achilles tendon, I believe he had 3 foot surgeries, and being able to come back from those injuries and being still one of the premier players in the league, he definitely deserves his flowers. But going back to Jalen Brunson, 28.4, and look at the volumes of shots that he's taking. So he's averaging 28.4 on 21.2 field goal attempts, and out of those 21.2, he's converting on 10.1, which is 47.8%. And then the 3-point attempts, he's averaging 6.8, which is 7 attempts. And out of those 7 attempts, he's hitting 2.7, which is 40%. For rebounds, Jalen Brunson's averaging 3.6. Assists, he's averaging 6.7. So there it is right there to show you that Jalen Brunson is getting his teammates involved. And we also have to keep this into consideration. Jalen Brunson has been able, alongside his teammates, of course, Dante, Josh Hart, Bogey, Deuce, Isaiah Hartenstein. Like, of course, Jalen Brunson has had the help. But when you're talking about someone that's going to be able to carry your team through a really dark period of the season where they lost Julius Randle on January 27th, and the fans, we were all in the dark and we didn't know exactly if he was going to be coming back or when he's going to be coming back. Jalen Brunson had to be the person to put the team on his back, and he's been able to do this without a solidified number 2. Josh Hart is not a number 2. Dante DiVincenzo is not a number 2. Deuce obviously is not a number 2. Jalen Brunson has been able to carry us through this dark period of the season where a lot of us thought that we were actually going to fall in the standings. But what actually ended up happening is we were actually going up in the standings, which is, as of right now, we're actually the number 3 seed going into the first round of the playoffs. If the playoffs started today, we'd be going up against the Indiana Pacers. But before I talk about Jalen Brunson going into the playoffs and being our leader and how far he can take us, I want to go back to that scoring list. So after Kevin Durant rounding out the top 5, we got number 6, we got Devin Booker averaging 27.1. Number 7, we got Jason Tatum at 27 flat. Number 8, we got De'Aaron Fox at 26.6. Number 9, we got the Joker at 26.4. And rounding out the top 10, we got Stephen Curry at 26.4. So when you take a look at these players that are behind Jalen Brunson, it's a little bit surprising because Devin Booker, Jason Tatum, Steph Curry, like, these players are known for their offensive prowess. These players are known for putting the ball in the bucket. But then when you have a Jalen Brunson getting on the list at number 4, everything is always going against him. Everybody looks at his physical stature. They always look at his athleticism. He's not jumping out the gym. But what he's able to do, he's able to break down the defenses with, 1, his elite footwork, and 2, he's able to break down the defense with his basketball IQ. Many times you see Jalen Brunson, when he's going off a pick and roll, he's one of the things that he does and he incorporates very well, he incorporates the hostage dribble. And what the hostage dribble is after you go in the pick and roll, you have a defender on your hip, but he keeps the defender on your hip. And then as his momentum is going up for a shot, the defender's momentum is going into him, so the ref has to call that foul. And that's another thing that Jalen Brunson is able to do very well that a lot of other players aren't really picking up. His IQ, whatever he lacks in athleticism, whatever he lacks in physical stature, he makes up in the basketball IQ. And that is why Jalen Brunson is able to land on number 4 and the highest scoring averages of this season. Now, you can also make the argument that some of these players, they have a better team around them. That's why they're not as high on this list. A la Jason Tatum, Devin Booker is not really part of this conversation because the Phoenix Suns have been an absolute nightmare. Stephen Curry, not a nightmare, but his team isn't as good as Jason Tatum's. But one player that really stands out to me is De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox averaging 26.6. I feel like if you just say the name Jalen Brunson and De'Aaron Fox, your mind might go straight to, oh, I think De'Aaron Fox is having a better season than Jalen Brunson, because of the team that's built around him and obviously the skills that De'Aaron Fox possesses. But the team that's built around De'Aaron Fox, you got a Domantas Sabonis, who's arguably top 3 big man in the league, who is severely underrated, who didn't make an all-star team this season. I think he leads the league with the most double-doubles this season. And obviously you got Malik Monk, even though he went out, I believe he's out for a few weeks with a bruised knee. Kevin Huerter, he was out for the rest of the season. I believe he has the same injury as Julius Randle, a torn labrum, which he went under successful surgery. So he's out for the rest of the season. But when those players are healthy, I think it's safe to say that the Kings might have a better team and they might have the better pieces surrounding De'Aaron Fox. We also got to talk about Keegan Murray. We also got to talk about Trey Lyles. So I'm not saying that a fully healthy Sacramento King team is a definitive better team than the Knicks. But if you go talent for talent, it's not an easy 100% that you're going to pick the Knicks over the Sacramento Kings. Now, going into the first round of the playoffs, if the playoffs started today or tomorrow, the Knicks are the 3rd seed and the Indiana Pacers are number 6. And the Pacers are about a game and a half behind the Knicks for the 3rd seed. And I believe each team has around like 3 or 4 games left. We got Boston, Brooklyn, and once again, we got Chicago Bulls. Playing the Chicago Bulls 3 times within the last week is kind of crazy, but that's neither here nor there. Jalen Brunson going into the first round of the playoffs without Julius Randle, with an OG Anunoby who looks like he's getting his reps and looks like he's getting more comfortable as he's coming along from that elbow surgery. And I believe he had a quote after the game, was it last night against the Chicago Bulls? He said that the elbow is good, he's close to 100%, that he doesn't even think about it anymore. So I think we're in a really good spot with OG Anunoby getting his groove back within the offense, his stamina, his conditioning, his touches, his feeling around the ball. I think we're in a really good spot with OG. But Jalen Brunson, if he's able to put on a Jimmy Butler-esque type first round against the Indiana Pacers, and then we don't know exactly what's going to happen in the second round. This Eastern Conference playoffs, besides the Boston Celtics, who's the definitive best team in the Eastern Conference, everything else is a crapshoot. Last night, Giannis Antetokounmpo went out with a really bad calf strain. Calf strains take about maybe like a week and a half, 2 weeks, and the playoffs start next week. So Giannis is not going to be 100% again for the first round. The Philadelphia 76ers, who's another kind of sleeper team because Joel Embiid just came back. But Joel Embiid just came back from a meniscus injury and surgery, so it's going to take him a little bit of time to get back into the groove of things. So whoever plays the Philadelphia 76ers might be able to take advantage of that. The Orlando Magic, they're the 4th seed right behind the New York Knicks, and this is going to be their first playoff appearance. But again, like I just said, it's their first playoff experience for all those players. All of those players, Paolo Banchero, who's the leader of the team, Franz Wagner, Mo Wagner, Jalen Suggs, Anthony Black, every single player on that team besides Joe Ingles right now that I can think of, it's their first time in the playoffs. They don't know the type of intensity. They don't know the type of physicality that's going to be brought to them in the playoffs. So this might be a good learning experience for them, but they might get got on the first round of the playoffs. Cleveland Cavaliers they've been super up and down all season. Nobody really knows what type of team they are. Nobody really knows what type of team is going to show up. Donovan Mitchell, there's been a lot of rumors and articles pointing out how he's not going to stay in Cleveland. He's going to ask for a trade this summer, or he's going to leave Cleveland this summer. The Miami Heat, you could never sleep on, but it just seems like they just don't have enough this season to really contend like they did last season. Now that I said that out loud, Jimmy Butler is going to have another Michael Jordan type playoff run, and he's going to lead the Miami Heat into the finals. We never know, but there's just a lot of things going on in the Eastern Conference that can easily propel the Knicks past the first round, past the second round. And Boston, Boston is definitively the best team in the Eastern Conference, but they're not 100% proven to me. Boston Celtics, they have their 2 main players, they have not been able to seal the deal. They've been able to get to the grandest stage of the NBA, which is the NBA Finals, But what ended up happening? Jason Tatum didn't show up. And then when Jason Tatum didn't show up, they needed Jalen Brown to be the Robin, and he wasn't able to. Jalen Brown has some question marks about his ball handling, forcing him left. Jason Tatum's biggest question mark is, can he be the best player on the team to lead his team to a championship and actually win it? He can lead his team to the championship round, but we don't know if he has the mental fortitude to get over the hump and actually do what he needs to do in order to get that Larry O'Brien trophy and bring it back to Boston. And on top of that, Jalen Brunson is going into the playoffs in an amazing groove. His last 10 games, he's been having 30 to 40-point burger balls. You got last night against the Chicago Bulls, you got 45. The night before that, he had 43 against the Bucks. Before that, it was 35 against the Bulls. Before that, it was 35 against the Kings. Before that, it was 20 against the Miami Heat. Before the game against the Miami Heat, he had 30 against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Before that, he had 61 against Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs. So Jalen Brunson is such in a great offensive groove right now that going into the playoffs, and I know that the playoffs, you have a lot of time to create a defensive scheme against the best player on the opposing team, and I understand that, but I got to point to one thing that I said earlier in the video. The basketball IQ that Jalen Brunson has and that he possesses, I am 100% confident that he will be able to find a way to incorporate his teammates, but also get his own. So all in all, I just feel like the NBA media is really starting to turn their tune on Jalen Brunson, and I'm glad that JJ Redick is actually one of the ones that's actually going out there, going out on the limb, if you will, and putting Jalen Brunson in that top 10 to top 12 tier in the NBA. Gotta salute Kendrick Perkins, because Kendrick Perkins has been riding on the Jalen Brunson bus since pretty much the beginning of the season, so I can't forget Kendrick Perkins. Salute to you. But until next time, guys, I want to say thank you for checking out this video. Leave it in the comments and let me know what you guys think about JJ Redick's remarks regarding Jalen Brunson, but also leave it in the comments and let me know, do you think Jalen Brunson deserves to get that first team All-NBA selection, or are you okay with the second team All-NBA selection? But until next time, guys, you know the drill, you know the vibes. Taj Gibson for president, Brunson for all the MVPs. The deuce is loose for co-MVP, and we out, baby. Peace. Go Knicks, baby.